Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta and my guest today, the busiest man in our public life and perhaps one of the busiest in public life anywhere in the world. A man who needs his mind to be like a 9-band radio or who maybe needs 48 hours in a day. Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, welcome to Walk the Talk.
Thank you, thank you.
So how many hours do you have in your day?
I wish if it could have been extended little, perhaps I could have coped with the things better.
Because you do more jobs than almost anybody can think of.
No, I do not know, because there are some busy persons. I was informed that Mr. Kognaliji, even at this age, he works very hard. And his life is very disciplined, but even at this age, no politician in Tamil Nadu can beat him in working hours.
Your life is very busy as well.
Of course.
And very disciplined as well.
More or less, you can say it.
You're very punctual and I believe you have very low patience with anybody who's not punctual.
Try to be little bit, try to be but not always, try to be punctual but not always. Sometimes because of the work schedules I shall have to make. But earlier days I was more punctual because you know the basic discipline which we had from Mrs. Indira Gandhi. She was very punctual. With a schedule you could tell in your watch. I have noticed that sometimes if she was engaged for some work in and the cabinet meeting is due, then she will send the slip to me. You take the innocuous routine items. I will join you. It happens.
There's something else she once said that I was reading someplace. She said if you say something to Pranab Mukherjee, it remains with him. Then even if you punch him in his stomach, all that comes out is smoke.
That was a beautiful comment.
Yes.
That we won't get any word from him.
Except smoke. And then he stopped smoking,
yeah.
So now even smoke won't come out. You have any other memories of Mrs. Gandhi, of working with her?
No, lot of memories are there. And particularly I can tell you that the way she was thorough in every aspect, and she gave lot of weightage to the views of the others, her cabinet colleagues. But at the same time, she would not like that somebody will go on rambling. She would expect people to be precise, to the point, and confined to the subject.
And if anybody
then immediately she will say that that's not the issue. Issue is like this.
Right. But sir, from then now times have changed. From having powerful prime ministers who everybody deferred to also as a party man. Now the prime minister's job is to manage very complex coalitions.
Of course, very complex coalition. We do not have the clear majority. But here the great advantage Dr. Singh has, his soothing personality, his vast knowledge of economics, and absolutely he is not irritated at all on any event or with anybody.
Sometimes
that's a great quality.
Sometimes it takes a lot to do to irritate him.
Yeah, it takes a lot to irritate him. I agree with you this way.
Because you like to quote from Hamlet, I think, to describe Dr. Singh.
That once I told it, I told it in Parliament, I think, Lok Sabha.
Right.
That be aware of the fury of a quiet man.
Right.
He is a quiet man, but once he becomes furious, though he did not become furious, I quoted that.
But in the last 4.5 years, have you ever seen him furious or irritated? Has something got to him?
Irritated sometimes maybe, but as I sit next to him,
right.
But he did never express, he controlled himself.
During the days of the nuclear deal?
Not.
No.
He was very patient. He was very patient.
Were you angry those days, following 26/11, 26th November?
I was shocked. I must say I was shocked. And I felt that there will be no end of it. That was my first impression, because you know the same building where I was sitting with Mr. Qureshi, Pakistan Foreign Minister.
Yes, Hyderabad House. in Delhi, yes.
The same building. I think we left around 7 o'clock, 7:30 or so.
Right.
And as I was working on my table, then next day morning we had to go to Chandigarh
Right.
to address a seminar. So I did not host a dinner for him, though the meeting was late.
Right.
And I apologized to him that I'm sorry I am unable to host a dinner. He said, don't bother about it. So we had good talks, we had discussions. Then we left. And around 9:30 somebody came and switched on my television in my office. And I don't think I took away my eyes from the television. A channel I do not remember always, but man was making some sort of dramatic announcement, and it became a little bit irritating to me from time to time. But I think 3:30 in the morning I sat there just looking at the television. And I was in between, calls were coming, I was talking to various people. It went on like that, and next day also it was almost like that. The only difference was that I went to office.
Take us back to those 3 days. Now that I have you captive. Those 3 days, what went through your mind when the attack was on in Bombay?
As I told you that I was so disturbed and
Angry?
And sometimes, of course, later phase, that why can't we, it was just I was arguing within myself that why our people can just simply bomb these and blast these. Then immediately it came to my mind, how many innocent lives will be lost? Because nobody knows who are there, what will be the impact. And the way they were conducting our security forces, I must salute them.
So, Pranab, the Foreign Ministry, Finance Ministry, a lot of Prime Minister's responsibilities now, although, he's getting better. He's getting better, isn't he?
No, he is getting better. Doctor said that I think some work he can start, most of the work he can attend after 4 weeks,
Right.
some work after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and most of the completely he can take over after 6 weeks,
Right.
as per the doctor
So,
said.
but yet, given the number of GOMs you had, what is the hierarchy of importance in your life? What takes most of your time and attention and thinking time? Is it foreign policy, economy, or West Bengal Congress?
West Bengal Congress does not take that hierarchy, because basically government business gets top priority
Right.
to me. Whenever I am in government or whenever I am even out of government, public issues dominate my life. I have no other personal life, though I am a family man. But it has never dominated or encroached. And days together it may happen living under the same roof. Hardly I see my wife, though she is sick. Because sometimes in the morning or sometimes in the late night, I normally leave my table, working table, after 1 in the morning.
Right.
And before I go to my bedroom, I just touch her forehead, she is in deep sleep.
Because on foreign policy, we have a situation where somebody is flying his own Air Force planes low over his cities, or inventing calls from you. And on the economy, we have this big global crisis.
Yeah.
So, so what worries you more now?
No, it is not comparable. Every issue is important, and so far the global impact of the meltdown and its impact on India, Prime Minister has already taken certain measures. Those are in place, and as and when
What do we expect
we go
more?
on, basic fundamental strength of the Indian economy is there. That it is not that we are coming down to 2% growth
Right,
or negative growth rate. Yes, it may not be 9%.
Which figure do you believe for this year?
Around 7.
Around 7.
Around 7.
Above or below?
I think it will be around, I don't know what 1%, one decimal point or 2 decimal points this side, that side, but around 7% I expect. Because up to third quarter it has become. So in the fourth quarter, if there will be no serious slippage, perhaps we will be able to maintain.
Because even now banks are not lending. A lot of the sections of industry are laying off a lot of people. There is distress.
No, there is distress in certain sectors of the industry, no doubt in it. But firstly, the health of the banks are sound.
Right.
Number one. Number two, substantially liquidity constraint has been taken care of. Now, if the demand does not pick up, perhaps certain corrective steps may be taken.
Our rates are still much higher than the global standard now.
Now, what they are doing various parts, because in that way I must say we are not totally market driven,
Right.
100% market driven or 100% market oriented.
Right.
We are opening, no doubt, and substantially we have opened, but in certain areas we take cautious steps, and to my mind it is correct.
It is correct. So do we expect rates to, as the Prime Minister said, there is monetary headroom now available?
I would not like to make any comment, because I will have to tell something when
Right.
Parliament meets and when I present the interim budget.
Right. No, I'm talking of monetary easing.
No, that let us wait for the credit policy which is going to be
But
announced.
Prime
shortly.
Minister said last week in his last speech that monetary headroom is now available.
I will see when the RBI,
Right.
I think it will be around before the end of this month they are going to announce the
Yes.
revised credit policy.
So, sir, we talked about all the ministries you handle. What about politics? Because since you have a lot of spare time, you have to also handle your party's politics, alliances.
No, that always we have to do it, because these are closely linked now. One is not delinked from the other.
Right.
One is not delinked from the other. Whenever I had been in government, some party responsibilities always have been entrusted to me. And Mrs. Gandhi has given 4 or 5 things. For instance, I can tell you, drafting of the party manifesto.
Right.
I am doing it from the 1977.
Right.
To build up some campaign. This time, thank God, she herself has taken the leadership of the chairpersonship of campaign committee, but she has made me the vice president.
Right.
So that on campaign things also I shall have to make. But there are other people also who help us. It is not that these jobs are done by me alone.
These days elections are won by people who can strike alliances. So diplomatic skills become very handy. And now, when you look at the allies, the ones you have is one thing. But once you don't have, Mamta for example, if you got Mamta on your side, I don't want to say in the bag, because she'll may take umbrage, it makes a big difference.
Of course, if Mamta Congress comes together in Bengal, situation would definitely improve, likely to improve. Of course, in 2001 it didn't happen that way, because these are, after all, we are working with the human beings, not with the plain physical laws are not applicable. But it is expectation is there.
And a very volatile human being in
It is expected there. No, I would not like to comment, because this part is being dealt by somebody else. I do not directly handle this, because firstly that West Bengal and West Bengal Congress is involved, so I would not like to look into it. I have requested that, and she also knows it. So somebody else in the ICC is looking into that.
You will not tell us who?
No.
No. Secret operation.
No.
And what's your view of the left now? Because nobody knows the left better than you in non-left parties.
No, left we cannot have open alliance. Pre-election alliance is not possible.
In West Bengal?
No, nowhere.
Nowhere.
Because left strength are essentially in 3 states.
Right.
Essentially. Out of the 60 members they are having, as many as 55 are coming from these 3 states.
Yes. West Bengal, Tripura and
West Bengal, Kerala and Tripura.
Right.
And in other areas we had some adjustment with them.
And in
there are 4, 5 seats.
and all three you are their rival.
And in all these three, Kerala surely, Tripura yes, and Bengal, Mamata is emerging as the bigger opposition party compared to us. But nonetheless, our presence is also there.
Yeah, and Mamata is also Congress by another name actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you see the likelihood of them again coming back with you in the alliance after election?
Depends on number. After all, democracy is nothing but number.
Numbers. No, but if numbers require, you don't see that ideological divide has become now so much that it won't be possible? Or bitterness has become so much after the nuclear deal?
No, I do not think that bitterness has gone. Political differences, divergences of views, ideological divergences are there.
But bitterness is there or not there?
I don't think that
You
there
don't
is
think
any
so?
bitterness.
Because when you were negotiating till the last moment, it must have been frustrating that you were not able to close the deal with the left.
No, that is true. That is true. I felt bad. But it did not leave any bitter taste in my mind.
Because will you tell
Whether
us?
we parted company sadly, I must say.
Will you tell us something about the last meeting you had with Jyoti Basu on this?
No, I tried. What I am telling you very frankly, I tried my best but I failed. I tried to persuade him that let them walk out. Let them not vote
Against the government.
against the government. Let them walk out, let them protest, let them make their full speeches, but let them not vote with BJP. I did not say don't vote against government, because government's policy they are opposing.
Right.
So I requested them that let them not vote with BJP.
And what did he? What was his view?
That I should not tell him because it is for them to decide, and it appeared in the media. You have seen,
Right.
you might have seen.
So,
but
but
I would not like to comment what he told me.
But do you think that if the left had taken a slightly broad-minded view, it would have been possible to make a break without actually taking an adverse position voting with BJP? Was it a mistake on their part?
It is from the hindsight, no need of guessing it. What has happened has happened.
Right.
Let us take it on the face of it.
But have you found this left more difficult to deal with since Prakash Karat took over?
Huh?
Prakash Karat, because it's a different generation of leaders. Because you had an equation with your generation of leaders, or maybe older than you.
No, I must say Prakash was very courteous, understanding, decent.
But
Ideological differences are there. He is sharply ideologically oriented man, there is no doubt in.
Right.
As it was Surjit, as it was Jyoti Babu.
But Surjit and Jyoti Basu...
But at the same time, with the age, with the experiences, they have gathered much more things. But so far Prakash is concerned, my dealing with him or his dealing with Prime Minister or with Mrs. Gandhi
was courteous.
was absolutely perfect.
And professional in a way, politically
And
professional.
professional.
So come 2009, if need be, you won't say that there is no scope for...
I will not make any comment on it because I know that democracy is nothing but number.
Right.
And I do not guess in number.
But it's not like Congress and BJP can never come together.
Huh?
It's not... Congress and left will never be like Congress and BJP.
I can just quote a famous historical saying that if Robespierre and Napoleon could have come together, perhaps history of France would have become different.
That's true. And that's why I have to ask you the inevitable question. In the past, Congress and BJP, yes, we have to conclude, sir. Congress and BJP always had strong ideological differences. Mrs. Gandhi even put so many leaders of the then Jan Sangh in jail. But yet the two parties maintained some kind of political contact, discussion, even social contact. It seems that bitterness or disagreement over the past 5 years has become too much, and there's not enough conversation between the two parties.
Sometimes we have some discussions.
But not enough, sir.
Maybe I do not know, but sometimes we have some discussions. And I do not think that there will be any bitterness. Because I was just very recently, it is not far off, when Parliament was at her.
Right.
Mrs. Gandhi, the first thing she did, she contacted Mr. Bajpayee and inquired about his safety. And Bajpayee made a very beautiful comment that if the leader of the opposition inquires about the safety, about the safety and security of the leader of the government. That is the biggest testimony of our functional democracy.
But after that, sir, in the last few years, it looks like communication is minimal.
Because of certain factors, let us not go into that aspects. Everybody knows it, what happened. What happened after the election results of 2004 came. So what is the point of raising those issues? And going for who is responsible for what?
No, after elections of 2004, you mean comments about Mrs. Gandhi or?
I do not want to elaborate it, I leave it to it.
Right. But as a veteran of Indian politics, you think this is right or this is wrong? This needs to be
It's not a
rectified.
question of value judgment. It's a question of what happens. The situation as it is, you have to accept it.
Right. But it would be better.
Now you complete it.
But it would be better for India's politics if the two major parties talk.
Of course it is always better, and it is not that we have stopped talking. You are saying it is not enough. I don't know what is the yardstick of judging whether it is enough or not.
Well, I mean,
But talks are there.
if you are saying that that the two parties are talking, I think that is reassuring, because if anything has to happen
Thank you.
at a substantive level, whether between Congress and BJP, India, Pakistan, India, US, India, China, then Pranab has to
Because
be involved.
I am telling you that as leader of the house, before the session, during the session, I am to talk to Mr. Advani.
Right.
I am to talk to Mr. Jaswant Singh. And even after the Mumbai attack, I had a discussion
Right.
with Mr. Jaswant Singh. Informal, of course. So several times talks take place.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Pranab. We
you.
had a
Thank you.
brilliant
Thank you.
conversation. I know you have a
Thank you.
million more important things to do.
Thank you.
So I'm
Thank
so grateful you found the time
Thank you.
on a Sunday.
Thank you.